Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, departed Jamaica Thursday afternoon, having been in the island since Sunday on an official state visit. During that time, Dr. Rowley held bilateral talks with the Jamaican government, made courtesy calls on several persons, including Governor General Sir Patrick Allen, former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, and opposition leader Mrs. Portia Simpson Miller. The message during his presentations was simple. There is no feud between Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, and as a region we're better off taking on the world together than as individual nations. Both Prime Ministers revealed the results of the week's engagements during a press conference on Thursday. Key in those discussions were the issue of free movement of skilled labor and trade impediments. The official visit of Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to Jamaica has officially come to an end. At the climax of a very hectic schedule, Dr. Rowley and Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness addressed members of the media to divulge what they could from the week's engagements. Along with immigration issues, trade was among the pressing topics that were discussed. Dr. Rowley personally sought to quell the trade tensions between the countries by meeting with members of the Jamaican business community on Tuesday. A major concern for Jamaican business interests was access to the Trinidadian market. Dr. Rowley says that meeting was entered into with several misunderstandings which have been addressed.
There will always be issues raised where you're trading goods and services, but I had very cordial relationships while here during the week discussing and responding to these issues, and I can tell you that I leave here with this feeling that the local business community is satisfied that there are no deliberate impediments to trade, and in fact they are excited about doing what Prime Minister Holness says, which is expanding Jamaica's footprint into Trinidad and the rest of the region. There were some misunderstandings, but nothing that could not have been cleared up by frank and clear discussions on the matter, and that's what we've done.
Dr. Rowley adds that the main problem identified by Jamaica's business interests is non-tariff barriers to trade. But Dr. Rowley says those don't exist. Therefore, he says among the demands from the discussions is the authorities in both countries be made aware of what the actual barriers are and that they be educated on better trade facilitation. Prime Minister of Jamaica Andrew Holness says the first step in that effort is structural changes which need to be implemented in both countries.
We discussed ways in which through cooperation we could navigate around those structural impediments, such as looking at the restoration of a trade desk in both our ministries of trade and commerce. Things like that will help to ensure the ease of trade, and not just trade in goods, but hassle-free travel across the region. So once there is the government-to-government will to cooperate and address the issue, then I think we would have made significant success.
Measures will also be taken at the local levels to ensure ideal environments for business.
As leaders, we agreed to work towards a better and more stable environment for businesses to thrive, to increase investment flows between our countries, and to develop mechanisms to facilitate closer trade cooperation and the resolution of trade issues.
What has long been an impediment threatening bilateral relations between CARICOM's largest economies is the free movement of people between the islands. Mr. Holness notes that each year, about 16,000 Jamaicans travel to Trinidad and Tobago, and over 13,000 Trinbagonians travel to Jamaica. However, there is no all-access granted to not just the two countries, but any country in CARICOM. There are conditions. What has been agreed over the last few days is the implementation of measures to ensure labor can be moved as freely as possible.
We spoke about the responsibility of member states to guarantee the agreed measures for hassle-free travel, the application of the 10 agreed categories of skilled labor, as well as the even acceptance of CSME skilled certificates throughout the region. In this regard, Trinidad and Tobago undertook to continue the process of reviewing its legislation to address the additional categories for movement.
Dr. Rowley closed his final speech in Jamaica by noting that the bilateral discussions this week are merely the beginning in the reaffirmation of a strong relationship between Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago.
On behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the government which I head, to extend an invitation to the Prime Minister of Jamaica and his delegation, particularly his Foreign Minister and Attorney General, to join us in Trinidad and Tobago at the earliest opportunity so we can continue this dialogue, which can only redound to the benefit of Trinidad and Tobago as we strengthen our relationships. And as you accept that invitation, we promise if we don't go to cricket, we're going to take you to football.